Hi, everybody. Laura Lindroth, Director of Programming and Community Engagement at Rainbows for All Children. This training is going to talk about alternate activities for your sessions. So bear with me one second. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you so you can take a look at what we're talking about. Okay, so the first time that you come on, of course, you're going to go to your facilitator dashboard. Again, that URL is facilitator.rainbows.org. You're going to use your email for your username, and your password initially is usually rainbows with a capital R, 18 exclamation. Then you'll change it to whatever you want. Click remember me if you want to remember where this, so you don't have to put it in every time. Little pop box comes up with Paula's information. If you are wondering where that information went again, it's down here. So if you ever need to reach somebody to help you, Paula's that person, but any of us can help you as well. So the contact number is there to call us. Okay, so alternate activities. If you have not completed your facilitator training, it's okay in this case because it's actually going to take you to the training site for the alternate activities. So even if you can't see all of these tabs at the top, you should be able to see the training and materials. And then you will go there and you will continue to the training site. And the training site is actually where the alternate activities are housed. So excuse me, I'm going to move this little video. Okay, so we're going to log. I'm already logged in, but we're going to log in. Again, the dashboard and Learn Rainbows sites are both the same username and password, okay? So you're going to click on that. And this is where you would go to complete your training, but you're going to go here to the Resource Center. So this is for the alternate activities. And you can scroll all the way down through a lot of these other materials to alternate activities and activity resources. Okay, the reason that we have alternate activities is a couple different things. You may not like the activity that's listed in the facilitator manual. That's okay. You may have children in your group that have particular special needs, and that activity is just not going to work for them. You may have gotten yourself in a situation where you're realizing that you didn't prepare all that well for this meeting's session, and maybe you are doing it later today and you don't have time to run to the store and get the materials needed. But ultimately, these were designed primarily, so the point being that you can always swap out an activity. It's not a big deal as long as it relates to what the topic is and is in that general, maturity level, age level, whatever, that's fine. So we give you a number of alternate activities for that reason. But the primary reason that this was developed is that we are realizing that there are a number of participants, children and teens, who really need to go through the Rainbows program more than one time. They go through their 12 meetings, they get a lot out of it, and they just are really realizing that that's a support system for them. So I know there's several little kids in some of the Chicagoland schools that have been with the program for 4 or 5 years even. And just love it. The Rainbows group is kind of their group, and it's their people, and they feel connected. And so anyway, it's perfectly acceptable to have kids go through the program more than one time, but they don't want to do the same thing over and over again. They don't want to do those activities that they already did. The topics can stay the same because they're still dealing with the same issues, right? They're still needing to talk about the guilt that they feel, or the anger, or the stress management, or whatever the issue is that's going on is probably still there, or at least can still be talked about. But they just don't want to do those same activities over and over and over again. So this is the alternate activity area, and where you will find it is the only location for this. It is not in your dashboard. It is only on this Learn Rainbows site, just for space, because it's huge. So we also have these incredible college interns that work for us all the time from Northwestern and DePaul and Loyola and University of Chicago and Adler University, and they primarily are the ones who research and find a lot of these alternate activities. I, of course, review them to make sure they're okay, but they're really looking for also adding in a lot more ones that are focused on media kinds of things. We had some requests from facilitators saying that the facilitator manual doesn't do a whole lot with new technology. You know, it isn't like whip out your smartphone and go to YouTube for this movie or, you know, whatever like that. And that was a request. So I did ask a lot of the interns to please add in some media kinds of things, because most kids these days, especially the middle schoolers and high schoolers for sure, have smartphones, or maybe they have a tablet, maybe they even use a computer for school. I know my daughters have iPads and computers at their schools. It's crazy. So perhaps they have those pieces of technology with them and can use those, and you might want to pull up stuff like that. So there are some activities in here that are more technology related. We are also always adding new ones to this. So these are going to change and be updated all the time. There will be new activities added at least every semester when we have interns working on them. So do check back. I would say probably there won't be any new ones until December. Like the end of the semesters is when we'll be uploading new stuff. So the beginning of next semester, there should be some new stuff in there. Same thing with new coming into the summer, new coming into the fall, you know, that sort of thing. Okay, so these are, again, you can read through here if you want. Oh, and I should mention too, if you haven't come on this resource center before, the very first thing you always have to do is accept this terms of use. You click on here. This is just for the very first time you do it. It'll pop up with this little quiz. Read through that, select true or false. You're probably going to select true. It's just basically an agreement that you agree not to share materials and copyright laws and blah, blah, blah. So once you do that one time, you don't ever have to do that again. But what prompted me to remember to show you that is that it says right here, this is not available unless you achieve a required score in the Facilitator Resource Center terms of use. That's what that is. It just means that you've accepted that. If you haven't accepted it, you won't be able to see any of this. So you go to the Sunbeams or your Rainbows levels. Let's say you are running a Sunbeams group. The Sunbeams alternate activities are here. It's going to come up as a PDF listing all of the meetings 1 through 12 and different activities under each of those meetings. These separate materials go along with those. So if you are, this parent caregiver guide, by the way, is in the facilitator manual, but some people were having trouble finding it. So we pulled it out here too. Same thing with the feelings face template. People were having trouble finding that. It says it's like in appendix 2 or whatever, I don't know. And people were like, where's this appendix 2? And so it was tricky to find. Anyway, we pulled all those things out. So they're here. And then some of these relate to the alternate activities. And then you can scroll down. Oh, and also Sunbeams has its own little certificate of completion, which is really nice to be able to give the kids on the Celebrate Me Day. We only do that for the Sunbeams level, which perhaps we should consider doing it for other levels too, which if you guys recommend that, we would be happy to do that. We go by what you tell us to do. So anyway, if you, for instance, are running, let's say Rainbows level 3, okay, all the Rainbows levels are here. There are not a whole lot of materials for any except for the Rainbows level 1 and then Spectrum 1 and 2 as well. So let's say you're running level 3. I'm just going to pull up one of these to show you. This is what it'll look like. It tells you the grade levels for level 3. That's 5th and 6th grade. So again, you'll go to meeting 1. That's the topic. There's this activity, which is an alternate to what's in the manual. There is this activity called Activity 2 Skittles. And then, okay, so for that meeting 1, there's only 2 activities to choose from, but you have that third one in the facilitator manual as well. And some meetings in the facilitator manual have actually 2 activities. So you may have 4 activities that you can choose from. These alternate activities also have very few materials required. Okay, some of them have some links to outside websites and things like YouTube channels and stuff. So you'll need to prepare in terms of, oh, am I going to be able to show that on a computer or something like that? Do we have the kind of room to be able to do that? But other than that, there are not a lot of materials. See, for instance, this, like write each word on a different sticky note, a piece of construction paper, or on the board. So that's all you have to do. You know, that's pretty easy. Doesn't require a whole lot. You don't have to shop ahead of time, that sort of thing. Okay. So meeting 2, there's this activity, and that's only because there's only one, it won't say activity 1. Okay. So if it's just one, it'll say that. When we add a second activity to that meeting, we'll put activity 1, activity 2. So I'm not going to go through all these, but as you can see, there's a number of different ones here. And let's see here, there's a link to a different outside source PDF. So there you would want to, of course, make copies of that to bring with, that sort of thing. So this is that. And that's when it said grief worksheet, this is the grief worksheet that was talking about. Meeting 4, activity 1, activity 2, etc. So pretty self-explanatory. You're welcome to print this whole thing out if you'd like, or whatever is convenient for you. You can download it to your computer here. You can print it here. But those are the different meetings. Remember too, when you pull up PDFs in this resource center, hit the back button to go back. If you don't, if you just close down that tab, you're going to have to go back to the whole like logging in again, because this closes down the whole site. There's no way to open it in a separate window, unfortunately. So you always have to hit the back button. When you're in Learn Rainbows, get used to hitting back button. Don't close down the tab. That's kind of a standard thing over and over and over again with that. Okay. If you have any questions, always feel free to contact us. Thank you so much. That is the alternate activities.